Hello and welcome to ACCA P5 Advanced Performance Management. This is a tough paper as evidenced by the global pass rate. However, don't be put off. There are a few things students get wrong that let them down consistently. The first is exam technique. This is a largely written paper, and written exam technique has never been more important than it is right now. Don't underestimate the importance of this. It's the most common reason ultimately for failure. Although the focus of this phase of your studies is on learning the new material required to pass P5, you should also focus on your exam technique right from day one. We'll discuss the details of exam technique when we get towards the question practice phase of this course, but you might want to take a peek in advance so you can start putting it into practice right now. The second thing students often get wrong is a misunderstanding of what P5 is all about. Let's start off by thinking about what it is not. It is not F5 but with harder numbers. This is a written paper, far more than F5 is. It's not mathematically more advanced particularly either. P5 earns its place as a final level paper due to the conceptual nature of a lot of the issues at hand. It's a discursive paper discussing the issues organisations face when trying to measure and manage performance in relation to an organisation hitting its strategic goals. It uses a lot of models that you will have seen before. For example, particularly in paper P3 Business Analysis, Porter's 5 Forces, Value Chain, Pestel, SWOT for example. However, just because P3 models are used here is not the same as saying you're being asked P3 questions again. Students often forget that answers need to work their way towards performance measurement and performance management issues rather than just stopping at the business issues that these models highlight. Imagine a P3 question, then at the end of your answer thinking, so what's the implications for performance measurement and management? And you're getting closer to what P5 is all about. Let me ask you a question. Let's suppose that one of your primary goals in life is to become wealthy, rich over the course of the next 10 years. You start to formulate ideas as to how you intend to achieve this goal. Let me ask you, how well does it inform your strategic planning to look at your pay slips from the last 12 months and analyse them in detail? You're probably bowing your head in confusion right now. Of course, how much you earned in the last 12 months in detail is almost completely irrelevant to the formulation and execution of your future plans to create wealth. Well, I'd agree with you there. Why then do companies and businesses insist on doing just that? Why do companies continue to focus on measuring historical annual profits as one of their guiding key performance indicators? There is so much wrong with using financial performance measures to help create wealth in the future. For example, profit is an output measure, by which I mean it measures the results of decisions made. It doesn't help you to make better decisions in the first place. If I were to set up a teaching business, I would want to focus on what needs to be done well in order for that business to create success. For example, quality teaching, quality of materials, things that drive exam pass rates and student satisfaction. If I do these things right, then profits will follow, but measuring profits will not help me to do these things better. Profit is also generally backwards looking, which doesn't help if you're more interested in the creation of wealth in the future. It's also a fairly narrow view of performance. Take, for example, a business who, because of dire general economic circumstances, has returned a loss for the year. But not only was that loss less severe than that of its competitors, suppose this business has invested in its people, in its customer relationships, and in research and development to create a fantastic product range, setting the business up well for the future. Has it really performed badly overall? Also, profit tends to be fairly short-term in nature. If short-term profit targets are given to managers, they'll manage the business towards those short-term profit targets, which is not necessarily good for the business in the longer term. For example, short-term profits can be maximised perhaps by cutting back on product development, not training staff, not entertaining customers or managing relationships well, refusing to replace staff when they leave. All this may increase profits in the short term, but goes a long way to destroying the business entirely. I could go on, and I will do later on in the course, but hopefully that's enough food for thought for now. In short, imagine you're running your own business. What would you need to know to satisfy yourself your business is performing well and is headed in the right direction to success in the future? If you answer these questions well, then you're thinking like a P5 student. So, we need to measure the right things in order to focus our attention in the right areas to ensure we succeed. That's why P5 starts off with paper P3. P3 asks the question, what should my strategy be and what needs to go right in order to ensure success? P5 then asks, therefore, what do we need to measure to ensure those things go right? Remember as well, people tend to work towards the targets they've been given. So if you set them targets to work towards the wrong things in business, you'll encourage the wrong behaviour. As an extreme example, suppose an organisation's business strategy says it should be more than anything else focused on quality, yet we give cost targets for people to hit. This will encourage managers to cut costs, threatening quality, which is diametrically opposed to the business strategy of the organisation. Here, performance management has failed dramatically. This phenomenon can be captured in one of my favourite quotes, and also a favourite quote of the examiner: "What gets measured gets done." This is a well-known quote attributed to Peter Drucker. It's also the strapline for paper P5. Consider these issues to be the big picture, often in the background, but also sometimes the main topic being examined. Remember, what gets measured gets done. Think of the implications of this in the scenario for performance measurement and performance management, and you'll be along the right lines for this paper.